What's cracking, everybody? Hello and welcome back to Gaming 101 with Mr. Berger. Tonight we're going to take a look at this intricate and high skill cap minor poison control deck. Now I've actually been playing this deck, or rather I played it today in Clash with Ashes tournaments. He does daily tournaments and he hosts these through Plex Chat, which is an app that you can download, and he streams them on Facebook. So check out his Facebook, CWA Mobile Gaming, if you want to get in on these free 10K tournaments. Next, thank you everybody for 100 subscribers. That's pretty awesome. It's only been about a month and a week. I've already got 100 subscribers, so I'm pretty thankful for that. Appreciate all the support. Alright, let's go ahead and get back to this deck here, and let's hop into a replay. So this is a minor poison control deck, and in this replay I'm going to be playing against a hog cycle deck. Now let's talk about some strategies, quickly go over some card replacements, and then we'll call it a video. So check out Clash with Ashes video of it featuring Sir Tag, both great YouTubers. If you haven't already, I'll go ahead and link that in the description below. I'll try to put a card up here as well, if I can remember to do that. Okay, so this is a very high skill cap deck. It's a control deck, so placement is very important. And that's one of the most important things in this deck, and what allows you to push with it is playing it over and over again and mastering that placement. So it doesn't have a lot of snowball potential, so it's not a big beatdown deck. You're not building up a golem push in the back like my last video, but you're actually kind of chipping away slowly at the tower and controlling the battlefield and kind of outsmarting and outplaying your opponent with positive elixir trades and things like that. Slowly and patiently chipping away at that tower for the generally 1-0 victory. Now, don't get discouraged if you start playing this deck and you're not doing so hot. I didn't do so great with it as well, and I'm still not doing so great with it, but I'm getting better and better the more that I play it. I played a version similar to it a long time ago in a different meta with bats and with knight, but it kind of fell off the edge there with all the new meta changes and everything. So it kind of resurfaced in this form. We got the ice golem in the place of the knight, we got the bandit there in the place of the bats, and almost everything else was just about the same, honestly. So it's kind of cool to see it back, because not a lot of decks are running Inferno Tower these days. A lot of them are running, you know, what is it, Tornado or Inferno Dragon, which are viable replacements for the Inferno Tower if you would like to. So don't get discouraged, keep practicing, watch your replays, kind of like what I'm doing now. You know, go over them, see where you made mistakes. We'll definitely go over one of my losses in a little bit and see how I could have done a little bit better. So do that for yourself as well. Watch your replays so that you can become a better player with the deck. Now if you continue to do well with this deck, it'll make you a better player overall, says Sir Tag himself. He claims that just understanding the intricacies of this deck, all the card interactions and all the placement and all the value of positive elixir trades and everything will make you a better overall player for all decks. And I would have to say I agree with that. So learning how to play this deck, practicing it, will make you a better player overall with other decks as well. There are a lot of flex spots in this deck. However, the kind of trifecta in this deck is the minor poison, which is kind of a combo in itself, right? So I'll consider that one. The minor poison comboed with the bandit and the Electro Wizard. You can replace both those cards with other things if you need to, but if you have them, I would highly recommend both of those. So let's go ahead and hop into another replay here. That was against a hog cycle deck. This next one, as you can see here, is against a P.E.K.K.A deck. So although there are a lot of flex spots, as I mentioned, the minor is a must-have. You can't really replace the minor in a minor poison deck. If you're taking him out, you're kind of changing the whole archetype of the deck. So you can't really replace him with anything. The bandit was recently buffed. Her minimum range was decreased, which is actually a buff to her, makes her stronger, because it allows her to dash from a shorter range. So the EWiz is great. He'll actually cause the Princess Tower to retarget onto your minor. He's also just a really powerful defensive and counter push card, which is the whole idea behind this deck, playing defense and turning that defense into a counter push, controlling the battlefield. So what he does is, since he stuns on every attack, if you send him in to counter push and you're a little bit late on the minor because you just got the elixir a little bit, like a second after your EWiz crossed the bridge, You send that miner in, he'll stun the Princess Tower, and maybe whatever support is there too, and the Princess Tower will retarget from the EWiz onto the miner. And that's what you want, because the miner is the tank, the EWiz is all the DPS. It'll allow the miner to tank the Princess Tower, while the EWiz wails away and gets a bunch of damage off on the Princess Tower. So he's good for quite a few reasons in this deck. Now as far as the miner poison combo goes, it is kind of a high risk combo, because it does cost 7 elixir. So be kind of careful with that. You don't usually want to open with that. If you want to preemptively place the poison, if you send your miner in with the poison, that's only if you know they've got like a skeleton army or a minion horde or a bunch of swarm cards and you know you're going to get value from it. Another good use of the poison, of course, would be to place it so that it hits the tower and whatever other support cards, you know, musketeer or wizard or whatever they have, so that it chips away at the tower and also destroys one of those other units, those other support units. So try to hit the support with the poison. Don't poison on your first miner. You don't need to do that. That's kind of overcommitting, unless you know for some reason that they have a bunch of swarm cards. But if it's your opening a move, you're probably not going to know that right away. So try to defend with as little elixir as possible. Go for those positive elixir trades. Take advantage of that Ice Spirit in this deck. He only costs 1 elixir, and he provides a lot of counter potential. So go for positive elixir trades. Turn those positive elixir trades into a counter push with the miner. So you know, once you place your EWiz or your Bandit down, because those are your 2 strongest counter push cards, and they've done their job on defense, as they're crossing the bridge, send that miner in onto the enemy Princess Tower so the miner tanks for his support cards. So those positive elixir trades are turned into counter pushes. Alright, so the miner and the poison can both be used to punish a pump and to destroy support units, as I mentioned, like the Princess or the Musketeer or a Wizard or something like that, an EWiz, Icewiz, whatever they're running, something along that health range. So if you miner on the tower and then you poison on the pump and the tower, you'll chip away at the tower, you'll destroy the pump, not destroy it, but you'll chip away at it so that it becomes an equal elixir trade, and you'll also clear the path for your miner if they do have any swarm cards or any support units that they were going to place down to counter your miner. So let's check out this match where I actually lost against Lava Loon. You can see where I went wrong, and I'll keep talking about the strategies. So poison is great. It's an even elixir trade now for pumps because it costs 4 and it does enough damage to bring the pump down so that it only gives them 2 more elixir than what they would have had. And since the pump costs 6, 6 minus 2 is 4, so it evens out. And on top of that, whenever you poison their pump, you can probably get the poison on one of their towers as well, and that gives you basically free chip damage on their tower. Now, don't waste the poison or the miner on too much stuff, especially if you know that they're running, like, if they're trying to bait out your poison because they're running 3 musketeers. You know, be strategic with the placement and the usage. Ideally, you use the miner to counter the pump if possible, and then maybe support him with the poison so that he isn't just instantly gimped or distracted by something else. But of course, the most optimal usage of the two to counter a pump is miner on the Princess Tower, and then poison so that it hits the Princess Tower and the pump. That's what you want to do, ideally. Alright. Try to use the Inferno Tower as kind of a last resort. It provides no counter push potential. So, using your EWiz or Bandit, they'll go down the lane, as I said, and they'll turn into this counter push that you can combo really well with your miner. But the Inferno Tower, being that it's a structure and not a unit, it doesn't go anywhere. It just sits there. So it doesn't provide any counter push potential. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's really good in a lot of situations. It blows up golems and lava hounds and giants, and it's great against Hog. Even if it is a negative elixir trade, it completely shuts down Hog and then lives a little bit longer to provide some more defense, but it doesn't provide any counter push potential. So if you can shut down their Hog with like your EWiz or your Bandit or whatever else you have, do that first. Use the Inferno Tower as kind of a last resort. Make sure that you save it for their heavy tank, and don't allow it to be distracted by swarm units if they are placing a heavy tank. Alright. So again, the EWiz and the Bandit, those are your 2 ideal support cards to counter push with your miner. So play it safe, not aggressive. Don't get impatient. Play defense, go for the counter push, win the game slowly. Consider muting your opponent to avoid misplays. So if emoting or BMing or whatever you want to call it bothers you at all, or even distracts you and causes you to look up there and think about what they were doing, consider actually muting them for the sake of bettering your play. The mute option is there for a reason now. It'll completely take their emotes out of the equation, so why not do it? It might allow you to be a little bit less distracted and focus more on the gameplay. And this is a tip that I've heard from quite a few professional players now. So I am not just saying it because it's something that I think. I actually recommend it from a pro's point of view as well as a personal point of view. Alright. Opening moves. Let's talk about opening moves as I jump into another replay there. You can see I messed up. I could have played a little bit safer. I almost won the match there, but I lost on the last second. Alright, this is versus P.E.K.K.A. Minor. Okay, for opening moves, according to Sir Tag, this is what you want to do. You want to Ice Spirit at the bridge, or you want to Cycle Bandit in the back. Ice Spiriting at the bridge has a number of benefits, as I mentioned in another video, and that is that it kind of will force them to react, because they'll think, oh, if he Ice Spirit at the bridge, he's probably going to send something like a Hog right in behind that, or a Battle Ram, or whatever, or a Bandit. But you might not. You might just distract them and kind of get the ball rolling and cause them to put down their EWiz or whatever, and then just take out their EWiz with your Bandit, allowing you to put into your positive elixir trade into a counter push. So those are two good things. You can always Bandit at the bridge if you want. A lot of people like that, but Tag actually likes to Bandit in the back behind the King Tower. So your decision. Otherwise, you can do what I like to do as an opening move and just cycle your slow support cards in the back, whatever you got in your hand. Okay, really quickly, card replacements. I don't want to go over everything other than, briefly mention the obvious. So EWiz, if you have EWiz, he's really good and I highly recommend him. If you don't, and you still want to run this deck, just run whatever is your highest level support card if you're running it on ladder. Otherwise, just run like a Musketeer, or maybe even Archers or something like that. For Bandit, you could replace it with like a Battle Ram or a Dark Prince, but Bandit is ideal in this deck. So if you don't have her, Battle Ram or Dark Prince, but if you do have her, I would recommend using her. For Ice Golem, you could replace him with a Knight if you wanted to, but I mean Knight just got nerfed a bunch of times, so I don't know. If you're gonna do a Dark Prince, Tag recommended doing Knight, but it's up to you. I kind of like the Ice Golem because I'm playing this at tournament level standard. I use Knight on ladder because I have the Knight maxed out. It was my first Knight. Knight was my first max level card. So for the Inferno Tower, I guess you could do another Tower or an Inferno Dragon. Inferno Dragon does allow you to play defense and then turn that defense into a very deadly counter push because they have to answer the Inferno Dragon or else it'll annihilate their tower. But it doesn't have the utility of being a structure, so it doesn't distract Hogs and Golems and Giants and things like that. So I would put in another tower like a Cannon or a Tesla, or maybe an Inferno Dragon if you want that Inferno utility, or maybe even a, what would we call it, a Tornado, if that would work out alright with this deck on defense. For your other cards, just use replacements. You can replace Log with Zap, you can replace Poison with Fireball, you could can't replace Miner with anything. As far as Ice Spirit goes, I love Ice Spirit, but any other cheap cycle cards like Goblins or Skeletons or Spear Goblins or something like that. So that's it as far as card replacements go. Let's go ahead and talk about this replay and then run through one more replay and then we're going to call it a video. Alright, so at this point I'm just playing defense because I know I've won the match. So that's pretty much it there. Let's go ahead and jump into the next match here. And I really do like this deck, as I mentioned, but I'm still working on it. Now, all those matches that you watched previously were in the Clash with Ash tournament that I played earlier today. But this one was just one that I did a little while ago earlier tonight. Let's go ahead and watch it in double time for a second here just to get the ball rolling, and then I'll slow it down a little bit. You can see that I cycle Bandit in the back. He's also got a Bandit. Alright. He's playing E-Barbs. Now, E-Barbs are interesting. E-Barbs are really powerful on ladder because they're easy to level up, and at higher level, E-Barbs and Royal Giant are very, very strong. They just have the potential to tear through an opponent's tower. The E-Barbs have so much defense and counter push potential, and if they make contact with the tower, they just blow it up. Oh my goodness. But those two cards aren't very good in tournament level standard. So it's interesting to see it. Of course, this is only like the second match in the tournament, in the challenge, and it is a classic challenge, so it's not like I'm going up against the best opponent. But hey, I'm not the best player to begin with, so we'll call it even. As you can see, he wasted a zap there. I imagine that was a misclick. It happens to all of us. Oh man, I've definitely done that. I accidentally played a spell where you meant to play a unit. Alright, the bandit charges in. Look how much damage it does when it connects with the tower. He doesn't have anything to defend. There's the E-barbs though. So I get a lot of damage off on the tower, which is really good for me. But then those E-barbs are coming down. And you can see I just don't have enough elixir to answer them, honestly. He logs preemptively thinking I might have a swarm card. You'll see him do that a lot. But if you know your opponent doesn't have a swarm card, there's no need to do that. Because you're not clearing the path of anything for your E-barbs. If you know they got Skeleton Army and Goblin Gang, then logging when you play your E-barbs or your hog is great. But in this case, he hasn't figured out my deck yet, or hasn't figured out the value of not using the log and saving it for a better spot. But it's alright. I used to do the same. I used to always E-barb and log with the E-barbs just to clear the way. But as you get better and better, you think about saving your log in case they have a tombstone, or in case it's a bait deck, or all the other variations that may come into play in the current meta. So at this point, I got a lot of damage on the left tower, but again, I got to answer those E-barbs. So I kind of am on my game at this point. I'm like, okay, I'm playing against E-barbs. It's unusual. I can defend them with the cycle cards, but they're so annoying. One of them, after getting frozen by the Ice Spirit, goes left to my tower, while the other one continues on right. Stupid E-barbs. Anyway, let's go ahead and get back here. Ooh, I got his tower. Awesome. But he also got mine. Look at those E-barbs just smacking away. And here comes the log. And there's the E-barb smacking away again. I decide to bandit on the right. It connects with the tower. He places down a cannon, but just a little bit too late. I put the miner in. The cannon actually doesn't distract the miner, so the miner chips away on the tower a little bit. Gotta answer those E-barbs. Alright, I opt to use the Ice Spirit, and then I defend with whatever else I got in hand. The Ice Golem and the Ice Spirit are great defensive counter push cards. Well, not really counter push cards, but cheap cycle defense cards, because the two of them together only cost 3, and they provide a lot of distraction so that your princess towers can beat down on whatever is chasing them around. It's so funny to watch a P.E.K.K.A. or something slow like that chase an Ice Spirit, an Ice Golem all the way across the arena. If you place it just on the very top 2 tiles, just on the left side as the P.E.K.K.A's coming down on the right bridge, he'll chase it all the way across. She'll chase it all the way across. It's so hilarious. Alright, the bandit jets in, but it looks like he got onto my miner instead. At this point, I'm pretty much going to play defense. I'm on my game. I know, I gotta take it seriously. I gotta play defense and chip away at the tower, and I gotta answer those E-barbs. I know what deck he has now, so I'm a lot more prepared for it. You can see that I use the EWiz kind of on the side of my tower there, rather than, using its Enter the Arena effect, because it would have just gotten blown up by those E-barbs. So now here comes the counter push. I send in the miner. However, I place it so that it's smacking his executioner, not the tower. I use the poison. As you can see, the poison is chipping away in the tower, and it also takes care of its executioner with the help of my other cards, so I don't have to worry about the executioner coming down the lane and turning itself into a counter push. He's going aggressive with the bandit on top of the E-barbs, bandit in the pocket. I play defense. I do use the Enter the Arena effect of the Electro Wizard that time, and it works out really well. Here comes the bandit charging onto the executioner, but the zap works out quite well. And he opts to fireball my miner. That just shows that he knows he's running out of options. There's not much he can do at this point. I just cycle spells and I take out his tower, and that is it. That's a good game. Well, that's it for this miner poison control deck. Thank you everybody for taking the time to watch my video. I appreciate all the support that I've been getting. It's been awesome. I've been having a lot of fun. I'm going to continue doing this because of all that awesome positive support. If you have any suggestions, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. Thanks everybody, and have a good night.